Hello and welcome to another high-scoring episode of the wonderful universe of This Ain't No Game. I'm your host, Ryan Davis, and this week's feature is the 1984 video game wish fulfillment fantasy, The Last Starfighter. It's a fun, easygoing take on the reluctant hero's journey, though it's one that loses some of its unique momentum once he actually gets there.
Okay, let's go.
Now, the reluctant hero in question is one Alex Rogan, a guy just out of high school living with his mom and his Playboy-loving kid brother.
Baby.
In the kind of harmlessly quirky trailer park full of generous and friendly neighbors that doesn't really exist outside of 80s movies like this one. It actually doesn't seem like that bad in existence, all things considered, though Alex is profoundly unsatisfied with his station as the trailer park handyman.
Thought you were gonna meet me at the lake. What happened?
Same thing that always happened. I couldn't get away.
Despite having a preternaturally patient, understanding, and loyal girlfriend by his side, he just wants something more.
Forget it, man. I'm doing something with my life.
It's the kind of story that would make the perfect start for like a Broadway musical or a Guns N' Roses video, though it goes in a decidedly different direction almost right out of the gate. Alex's only respite from this low-key existence is the Starfighter arcade machine outside the general store. After a particularly crappy day, Alex manages to break the game's high score record, a feat apparently so incredible that literally every resident runs down to cheer him on. This either speaks to how friendly and supportive everyone in this fantasy trailer park is, or just how soul-crushingly dull it is out there.
This is where it all began.
What?
Mom, I finally broke the Starfighter record.
Either way, the next thing you know, a kindly, fast-talking traveling salesman type named Centauri shows up in the perfectly 1984 vision of a futuristic car, and the next thing you know, Alex is in freaking space with freaking aliens.
I don't believe this.
Along the way, Centauri explains how the Starfighter arcade machine is actually a recruitment program for the kind of weirdly isolationist Ryland Star League to help them defend against the invading Kodan Empire, who you can tell are evil because of their bad skin.
Commander, Surian spy reports that one starfighter has escaped. Escaped?
The Kodan have recruited a treacherous member of the Ryland royal family named Zur, a snide, petulant brat of a leader in the Cobra Commander mold, who stomps and shouts and subjugates his clearly overqualified underling at every turn, and whose inevitable comeuppance is apparent to everyone but him.
How long must we endure this fool?
Though Alex initially seems to deal with the oddity of space travel with the greatest of ease, he's reluctant to actually join the Starfighter elite until a surprise attack wipes out all of the other Starfighters, leaving him as the last Starfighter.
The last starfighter.
For a reluctant hero, Alex spends maybe a little too much time wallowing in that reluctance, considering the title of the movie kind of telegraphs that destiny. Also, for all the time he spends hemming and hawing, it's kind of anticlimactic once he actually saddles up and the space battles begin in earnest, which I blame in part on the ravages of time. The primordial CG space battles looked like the most amazing video games you could even dream of in 1984. But 26 years later, it looks downright retro. There's historical significance to the volume of CG in The Last Starfighter, and it's impressive for its time, but it doesn't really benefit from the abstract style of something like Tron. Luckily, while Alex is being all space emo with polygons and his wheezy navigator Grig, there's some solid comedic business going on back on Earth with a robot doppelganger left in Alex's place to help stem suspicion. It relies on a lot of familiar fish out of water and mistaken identity gags, though there's a wry self-awareness to the beta unit's delivery that makes it work.
Alex, what the hell's going on?
Louis, you're having a terrible nightmare. Go back to sleep.
The stuff with the beta unit is probably my favorite part of The Last Starfighter, simply because it acknowledges just how ridiculous this whole situation is.
Oh, no.
Say what you will about it as an actual movie, but The Last Starfighter is quite arguably the most potent video game fantasy committed to celluloid. The genius of The Last Starfighter lies in how it taps directly into a powerful idea that all video game players can relate to on some level. That your video game skills can translate into something real or something better than real. It takes that idea and runs with it in a really fun way. And watching The Last Starfighter again for the first time in years, I was surprised by how well the impact of the wish fulfillment process held up.
Nice place. Reminds me of home.
This reminds you of home?
Yes. $6,000 little Gregory's.
And that's going to do it for this week's edition of the wonderful universe of This Ain't No Game. Be sure to tune back in next week as the kid from E.T. teams up with... Wait. I did this already.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.